Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Other Choice podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany, and today with me, my guest is Natalie Shank, and she is our oratory contest speaker from Kalamazoo Right to Life.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for being on this episode, and we're going to have such an exciting conversation. We're going to be talking about a lot of things from our younger generation's perspective and how we can make a difference in the pro-life movement.
Yeah, thanks for having me here today. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm so grateful that you reached out and invited me to come up and just talk to people about some of this. I think it's really important, too, for younger people to get involved and to have, these new faces to show people that, everyone and anyone can stand for life, that it's such a huge group of people who stand for life. It's not just adults or people who have kids or giant families who are the ones who stand for life. No, it's so many people who want to reach out and stand for life and support women and people facing hard decisions and provide them with the resources that they need.
Absolutely, I agree. What inspired you to enter the My Gen Leads contest and really share your voice in the way that you did?
Well, Kalamazoo Right to Life first reached out to the youth group that I go to, and they spoke to our youth minister, and he was trying to get us involved. They're like, can you see if any of the students there would want to come and speak at this contest? And so when he put it in one of the emails, and when I got it, I was like, I mean, it sounds like fun. And it was a time in my life when I was kind of wanting to step out of my comfort zone and find things that would help me gain more confidence, and an oratory contest seemed like a really good opportunity to do that.
Yeah, and we actually, at our state conference this year, we got to hear your oratory contest speech, which was absolutely amazing. By the way, we were all in the room. We were just in awe, and we're just so drawn into your speaking. Yeah, you just have such good speaking skills. Is there a little snippet you can think of that you could share with us just in the moment?
Well, so my talk was about motherhood and just how some women, when they when pro-life people will go speak to them, or in this case of the stories that I shared, it was women going to an abortion clinic and they met pro-life people outside, and they weren't the most supportive people. They didn't say very helpful things, and yeah, it was just, I just wanted to kind of open people's eyes to how certain ways are helpful and certain ways are not. But I can't really think of any parts of it off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Yeah, just a summary of what you spoke about, and it was such an inspiring speech. So you're a high school senior, and I can imagine, which it wasn't that long ago for me that I was in high school, but I remember just having a lot of different people in just different environments in my life that had different opinions, and I'm sure you have the same thing. And I want to know, what is something that really keeps you motivated and grounded when you're hearing other people's opinions on the pro-life movement?
Yeah. So for me, just staying motivated with the pro-life view and wanting to support women, I think it's really important to have someone in your life who you can stand with. And I think a lot of times with teenagers especially, and people kids in high school, they go with the flow with everything, whatever their peers are doing, they don't want to swim against the river kind of thing. And there's not a lot of teens who stand up for life, and there's not a lot of young people who speak up for topics like abortion, euthanasia, physician-assisted suicide, because it's just part of the culture. People can kind of do what they want. That overarching theme of our culture kind of keeps people from speaking up against it. And knowing this, and knowing that teenagers kind of just stick with what everyone else is doing, I want to give teenagers someone who they can stand with. And I've been in that position where I look up to people, and if they weren't there, I know that I wouldn't stand in that position. I wouldn't speak this way if they weren't there to support me and be that role model. So just wanting to give other teens and other young people kind of a foundation and someone to stand with them so that they don't feel alone and swimming against a vast majority of people who are opposed to their views. So
I agree. And the main purpose of our mission here at Right to Life, too, and just pro-life centers around our state and around the nation, is to give a warm and welcoming experience to people who are going through either an unplanned pregnancy or things like you mentioned, like a physician-assisted suicide or euthanasia. We want to reach out to them in a loving way and not in a way that we're making them feel like they're forced to make a decision, but we really just want to give them an opportunity to make a decision for themselves. And also, if you would like resources on how to bring up that conversation and how to articulate that when you're speaking with a person about those topics, you can go to rtl.org, which is our website, and we have lots of videos and articles that are great resources. When I started here, went through reading those articles, and it really helped me just be able to have more confidence in bringing up that conversation. Moving into a fun question, do you have a favorite quote or a book or a Bible verse that keeps you grounded when you're speaking with people about the pro-life movement?
Yeah, there's one Bible verse that I really like, and I refer to it a lot when, just in general in my life, it's one of those verses that kind of stick with you, and it's Psalm 56 verse 4. It's, "When I am afraid, I put my trust in you. In God, whose word I praise. In God I trust without a fear. What can flesh do to me?" And it just reminds you that, like, this world is so temporary, and there's things that God calls you to fight for in this life and things that he calls you to do, and he will give you strength for them. And ultimately, like, this world will pass away and the flesh will pass away, and so trying to stick with things of this world won't work out for you because they are not eternal. And keeping your eyes on God and thinking, like, what can flesh do to me? There's nothing that this world can throw at me that's going to stick with me forever. Like, the only thing that's going to stick with me forever is God. And knowing that, it can embolden you to just trust God and do what he asks you to do and do what you feel like he's calling you to do, and not be afraid to stand up against the things of this world because you know that they are temporary.
Yeah. And building off of that, too, I love the verse that you chose, by the way. I have two verses that really come to mind, and one of them is just kind of like my life verse right now in general, is Psalm 115:1. It's, "Not to us, Lord, not to us, but to your name be the glory, because of your love and faithfulness." And I just love that one because it's a good reminder of all the work that we do is really for God's praise and for his glory. But one that really stands out to me working here in the pro-life movement is Joshua 1:9, that says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged." And it talks about the Lord, our God, goes with us wherever we go. So that is always... He
truly does, yes.
That is always an encouragement to know that even in a situation where we feel like we may be alone talking to someone, we're not, because God's there with us and is guiding us the whole way.
Yeah, there's one other quote. It's not a Bible verse, but it's from St. Joan of Arc, and she's a super cool woman. Do you know her story? I know there's a ton of people who know her story. She's super popular. But I didn't know this was a quote from her until I saw it on a sticker on one of my friend's water bottles. Oh, really? But like she has more popular quotes, and then she has like some that I've never heard before. And this was one that I'd never heard before, but something she said was, "I will dare and dare until I die." And it's just something that really hit me. Like, if there's something that you really want to get done, and there's something that you feel God is calling you to, especially, like, you just have to go for it, and you have to push for it and be determined to bring it to completion, and know that God will help you bring it to completion, and just dare and go for it until you die. And yeah, that's something that I'll probably have with me the rest of my life. Just a good quote to have in mind.
That's so good.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, I always think of be a fearless follower of Christ. Yeah. Like, don't just be a follower, but just be fearless. And don't be afraid to do the things he's calling you to.
Exactly.
So the Right to Life Oratory Contest, which Natalie was a part of, focuses on the power of words and storytelling. And I just want to know, what was the main message that you wanted all the people to take away who heard your speech?
Yeah. I kind of summarized my speech earlier, and how it was about motherhood and some examples of times when mothers weren't supported very well. And those examples that I gave, they don't like summarize a majority of pro-life communities. It was people who, as just jumping back to summarize a little bit more, it was women who went to an abortion clinic and they met pro-life people outside who maybe talked to them or had like posters or whatever, but like the posters that they had were more graphic images and the words that they said were more condemning and not very like supportive. And the main message that I wanted to give to people was how women, especially in like women who are considering abortion, they're in such a tough situation and they're in such a rough spot in their life that they don't need more, like, I don't want to say violence, but like more graphic images or more people telling them what to do.
Yeah.
What they really need in a time like that is just someone to be there who is gentle and understanding and compassionate and respectful of them, and someone who isn't pushing opinions on them or pushing options on them, but someone who is just there and is like, here are the things that you can do, here are the ways that you can handle this situation, and no matter what you pick, I'm going to be here to support you through all of it.
Yeah.
And also toward the end of my speech, I was talking about motherhood and how when pro-life people like will go up to women who are considering abortion, or when they address topics like this, they're often like, abortion is wrong, abortion is like all these things. And what they don't focus on enough is like the flip side, and that is motherhood, and giving people examples of motherhood, I think is so important, because these stories of motherhood are like so rarely told.
Mm-hmm.
Because mothers are such a normal part of our lives that we don't think to tell the stories of like giving your kid a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and then making a huge mess.
Yeah.
Or something like that. But it's the little stories of motherhood and the joys of motherhood that can encourage women like to keep their children and to raise them, or if they don't think they can support them financially or whatever, to give them up for adoption, or like there are so many other options. And giving stories of motherhood, I think, is foundational to empowering and encouraging women to choose to keep that life that is in them. So yeah, motherhood was a huge part of that, and then like adding that to the ways that we spread the value of life, and not always using the tools of like graphic images and things like that. So going more with a gentle approach.
Yes. We did have Thanksgiving last weekend, and we're still in that holiday season right now. So I would say go to a mother, go to a grandmother, go to an aunt, or any family member, and just thank them for the wonderful work that they do in our lives and all the things that we often appreciate, but we don't say it enough. So make sure to go thank your mom, or just a mom you know, because they do a lot for us.
We'll take them for granted a lot of the time.
Yes.
And don't realize how much that they do behind the scenes.
Yes.
So, yeah. Shout out to my mom if you're watching this video. Love you so much.
Yeah, shout out to my mom too. We love you. So for other students who might be feeling nervous to bring up the topic of abortion or of the pro-life movement, because I know that can be kind of a scary thing to do, and it takes a lot of courage, what would be the main piece of advice that you would give other peers who are your age who may be struggling to bring that up?
Yeah. So I would say there's always going to be things in your life that are nerve-wracking and that you might find scary, but in regards to speaking up for life, like that's probably kind of toward the top of the list. Like, just speaking up for anything that you believe in is going to be nerve-wracking at sometimes, or some of the time. But for me, what I think about is being able to step out of my comfort zone, and having the courage to step out of my comfort zone can encourage others to do the same. And I would say also thinking about all of the women and all of the people who are facing tough decisions about life, that you can impact through stepping out of your comfort zone. And for some of us who work with the pro-life movement, if we never chose to do the nerve-wracking thing, if we never chose to step out of our comfort zone, there are so many people who would never have been impacted by the generosity and the support of the pro-life movement. And so being able to step out of your comfort zone really does encourage other people.
Yeah.
And helps other people find like the courage in themselves also to continue spreading that to everyone who needs it.
Yeah, that is such a good answer.
Yeah.
And one little thing that I would just even add on to that is looking back, like I'm post-college now, but especially in college was when I had a lot of those opportunities where people had opposing opinions, and I didn't always have that growing up because I grew up in a Christian household, and my family was pro-life, and most of the people in my community all had the same viewpoint as me.
Yeah.
So I would say if you're in a position where you are just feeling a nudge to say something or to just even ask someone how they're doing, just take that opportunity, because I can think back to opportunities that I had that it's like I should have said something in the moment.
I know.
And I didn't. And now looking back, like I had plenty of opportunities that helped me grow in sharing my beliefs with people, but there is a little bit of regret of not taking that chance when you had the moment too. So I think that it's much more important to just, even in the fear, just do it, and you won't regret it. Just by taking the risk.
Yeah, and every conversation like that, you learn so much from it, and you learn what other people might say to you, and after a conversation like that, you can kind of think of like, oh, maybe I didn't answer it as well in this conversation, but this is how I would answer it in the future if someone asked that again. I'm still in high school, but I'm dual enrolled at Kalamazoo Valley, and I was in conversation with another girl there recently, and I was talking about how I got a new job. Somehow jobs came up, and I was like, oh, I just got a new job, and they're like, oh, where do you work? And I was like, right to Life in Michigan, and one of the girls was like, oh no, and she looked it up, and she was like, oh, you're one of those people, and I was like, yes, I'm one of those people.
Yeah. Say it with confidence.
Yeah, and so we kind of started going back and forth about abortion and supporting women in need and things like that, and like me trying to explain it from my point of view and her explaining it from her point of view. And I will admit, like, my heart was racing. I was like, what if she says something that I don't know how to answer? Yeah. But I mean, it's good for you to put yourself in situations like that, because then like she would say something that I wouldn't quite know how to answer. And after that conversation, I could go online and look it up and kind of do a bit of digging myself, so that if that comes up in the future, I know how to explain it. And just having that knowledge for myself too, like this is something I haven't quite thought about before. But now that she's brought it up, I can look it up and like think through it for myself logically and see where I stand on that topic. So, yeah.
And I definitely agree. I feel like the more knowledge you will gain from hands-on experience of being in those situations versus, you know, just having the knowledge, the head knowledge and preparing for it before it happens. Yeah. We're going to shift gears a little, and I want to know, what is one of your favorite things to do in your free time?
Well, I've done the oratory contest, and I'm a storyteller there, but outside of that, I'm still a storyteller, and I love all things creative. Like, I especially love reading and writing, and I love music. I do musical theater as well. But just all those creative areas is where I really plug into. Yeah. I know you do creative stuff too, so.
I do. We're practically the same person. Anything creative. I would say, for me, it's art, writing music, performing on stage.
Writing music on stage.
Yeah, we have a lot of the same hobbies. Do you have a favorite role you can think of in theater that you've gotten to do?
Well, this year we're doing a musical called The Clockmaker's Daughter. And have you ever heard of it?
I think maybe I've seen it somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I think I've seen like other places doing it.
Yeah. I'd never heard of it before this year. I'm part of Homeschool Performing Arts.
Yes.
Basically the plot, basically, is there's a clockmaker, and his daughter dies, and so he makes a clockwork girl and tells her to never leave the house, but of course she leaves the house. And then she kind of, like, gets into some trouble, and anyway, I'm not going to go into the whole plot, but I'm a shopkeeper in the show and a dressmaker. It's part of a dress shop. So
that's so fun.
Yeah, part of the plot is there's a dressmaker, and the clockwork girl starts making dresses, and so there's kind of like a rivalry here.
Okay.
But I'm a dressmaker, and there's a bunch of other girls who I act with and sing with, and we do like some fun harmonies, and it's probably the favorite role of mine so far that I've had.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is so fun.
It's really fun.
Yes. I do have a favorite role from a show that I'm in this year. However, I can't spoil it. It's part of my contract that I can't say anything. I can't say anything.
Contracted.
But no, it's going to be really fun. Yeah, one of my favorite roles in high school that I got to do, because I didn't do traditional theater all the way growing up. I was actually a competitive dancer, but I did musical theater, so it's a little bit different in dance because you're focused on the dance, and then you're acting on stage and lip syncing your parts instead of actually saying them. Okay. So I got to do a solo one year. It was my junior year of high school, and it was a Kristen Chenoweth song, because I love Kristen Chenoweth. Yes, it was.
That's so fun.
It was called "If You Hadn't But You Did," and I think my solo was called "If." It's probably out on the internet somewhere right now, but yeah, that was just my favorite. I just loved acting growing up. So
yeah, that's so cool.
Thank you. Yeah. So finally, one last question. If you could say anything to anyone viewing this video who may be an adult or they may be younger, what encouragement would you give them to get involved in programs like My Gen Leads and just get involved in the pro-life movement in general?
Yeah. I guess I want to say that it's easy to hear about things like abortion and euthanasia and physician-assisted suicide and kind of like shrug it off and go about with your everyday life and just continue on. But when you dive into the pro-life movement and start getting involved, that's when like the stories start to pour out, and you have your eyes open to see how many people are truly affected and truly wounded by these life-ending procedures. And it's these stories that really drive us forward and that motivate us to continue speaking up for life. And so I would say if you get involved and you just like dive right in to the activities that are offered by any pro-life like community in your area, like that's when the stories start coming out, and your eyes will also be opened to see how many people are affected by this, and to start building that motivation and that determination to raise your voice for the vulnerable. Yeah.
Yes. That was an amazing answer.
Thanks.
I will add on to that too. If you want an opportunity to volunteer with Right to Life of Michigan, we have over 80 affiliates over the entire state.
Yeah.
So any county that you're in, if you send an email to our info email that's also on our website at rtl.org, we can get you connected with your closest affiliate, and we can find a place for you. And yeah, we love just encouraging new people to come into our organization and just continue this work.
Yeah, there's always stuff to do.
Yes. Well, this has been such a fun conversation, and I know everyone listening, and I also have enjoyed hearing about your passion and just your drive to work in the pro-life movement and share this hope with other people who are your age.
Yeah, thanks for having me here today. It was a joy to talk with you and to be able to talk to all of you. So I hope if you're watching, you can find some inspiration and some way to get involved too if you feel the calling to get involved. I would definitely encourage you to reach out to any local community or go check out the Right to Life website. Ton of good information on there. So.
Yes. And be sure to tune in every other Friday for a brand new episode of the Other Choice podcast. Every week that we have an episode, we have a brand new guest as well. And until next time, I'm your host, Tiffany, and this is The Other Choice.